The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Wicked Weed studio. It's a Wednesday morning. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. Check out our friends at wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing. Drink different. It's a Wednesday morning. Time for Week 2 Power Rankings in the NFL. We know who the 32 is. We know who the worst team in the league is. If this past week didn't teach us anything, it taught us that the Jacksonville Jaguars are god-awful. There's no shot that anybody else should be at the 32 spot in any power ranking you see.
When you gave up the fourth most yards in the league to probably the second worst team in the league, yeah, it's a real bad sign for you.
Yeah. Did not have Tyrod Taylor being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this past week. He was actually fantasy football. He was top 12. which was a shocker.
And he never will be again.
He never will again. The Jacksonville Jaguars are all over the place. And Jeremy, go ahead, take your victory lap. You tried to tell us.
I did. I've heard this forever. That Jacksonville's just a complete fucking dumpster fire. And as you can expect, they are number 32. 32
is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Atlanta Falcons at number 31.
You can't get beat like that, again, by one of the worst teams in the league.
Yep.
And I just don't know what they do well. All right, so you had one drive where you got Calvin Ridley the ball. You had one drive where you got Kyle Pitts the ball. Other than that, you were an abject fucking disaster. The defense is atrocious. Mm-hmm. Do you know what Jalen Hurts' average yard per target was? Yards at the target.
6.5.
3.6.
Wow.
It's the lowest in 10 years for a quarterback that won.
Holy smokes.
You want me to tell you why I can tell you that Philadelphia shit's not replicable? Because they have to play a Giants defense that is at the very least better than Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Dallas, whose defense looked fast and did seem to get after the quarterback against a markedly better team. Mm-hmm. And the Washington football team. That's 6 of their games. You look at the rest of that skit. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've never seen the bad in the NFL be this bad. This is the worst I've ever seen. There are 4 tiers of the NFL. The bottom 8 is you suck and we know it. The next tier is you suck and we'll know reasonably soon. Then you got 8 more that are, if everything went right, you could be contenders. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl, but you could get deep in the playoffs. And then you have the top 8 that can win the Super Bowl. I've never seen it like this before. Mm-hmm. There are 8 teams in the NFL that I swear to God, if we did this like soccer, they would be relegated because they're that fucking bad.
32-6 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles will definitely put you down on the list. I think in the first power rankings that we had Philadelphia was one of the 4 worst teams in the NFL.
I had them at 30.
Yeah.
They ain't much higher than that now, just so you know.
Well, I mean, blowing out a bad team is not going to move you up the rankings very much.
It's like in college football, a Virginia Tech beating a Middle Tennessee. I just don't give that much of a shit.
Right.
Beat a team that I think is even cognitive in terms of an NFL franchise. Then we'll talk. Until then, you will remain where you are.
It's a bad sign when your coach after the game has to go into the press conference in his first game as an NFL head coach and say, I'm sorry that the fans showed up today.
You had a fan getting high in the crowd because they were so tired of watching you get your brains beat out that they just lit up a joint. And I'm not talking about the nosebleeds. I'm talking about in the 5th fucking row. Just, here we go. How high?
What, he brought his bong with him?
No, they lit up a. Have you not seen this video?
No.
It's been all over the internet. It's some woman sitting in the 5th row at the Falcons-Eagles game.
Hot.
They just lit up a joint. I think it's in the 3rd quarter.
Right.
They were getting a hell beat out of them.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why
that's
not?
a bad sign. When your fans have to be high to watch you, that's probably not good.
We had such high hopes for Matt Ryan and the offense, but it's just it wasn't there in the first game. Hopefully Arthur Smith's second game will be even better.
There's not a lot of games I look at and go, hey, you could win that. Not after what I saw Sunday.
Oh, wait, who do they play? Oh, yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, this ain't going to get better.
Week 2 ain't going to be any better than week 1.
We might put up 60 on them.
You might.
At number 30, you got the Houston Texans. In my power rankings, I had the Houston Texans still at 31. I don't care that they're 1-0. They beat up on the worst team I think I've ever seen, and that's including the hapless 0-16 Detroit Lions.
I, honest to God, think the 3 bottom teams in this are an assault on your eyeballs. If the Houston Texans played the Atlanta Falcons, I would rather watch lacrosse. I would rather watch squirrel skiing. I would rather watch the offensive line of the Denver Broncos fuck each other than even think about watching that for more than 10 seconds.
To Rod Taylor, 331 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't turn the ball over. At least there was that. You got something to take home with you.
Hey, Steve from Blue's Clues, he's proud of you.
Mark Ingram getting 26 carries in a game.
That'll never happen again.
Ugh.
Mark Ingram may not have 26 carries combined the rest of the year until they play Jacksonville again. Houston's just bad.
Yeah, Houston.
I mean, and that's what made the Jacksonville thing so unbelievably just daunting to watch. Is I know how bad this Texans team is. Mm-hmm. Nothing that they could have come out and won that game 90-0, and I would not have changed my opinion on them in the least. Not in the least.
Did change your mind a little bit about the Jaguars, though? I mean, they're at least not.
They're worse than I thought they were.
Yeah, they're not the 3rd worst team in the NFL. They are the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, here's a fun story. You want to know the next 6 games for the Houston Texans? At the Browns, Panthers, at the Bills, Patriots, at the Colts, at the Cardinals. You may not stay within 30 in any one of those games.
Yikes. But there's a lot of hope.
I forgot one. I forgot one because my screen's not tall enough to see how many L's you're going to catch in a row. Because then you go Rams at the Dolphins at the Titans. You don't play another game, you will. I'd lay 3 touchdowns against you in every game that you play until you play the Jets the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Congratulations. You've had your high water mark. Now, bye.
Yelp. Houston Texans are still awful.
They're bad.
Well, number 29, the Detroit Lions.
They just don't have the talent. They try. I mean, I got to give them credit. They try hard, and I wanted to have them higher. Mm-hmm. I look at the 2 New York teams that are directly in front of them and everybody in front of that. You just have so much more talent than they do. Now, here's what I will say. I feel like of all the teams in the bottom quarter, the Lions probably are headed in the best direction. Because I do believe in Dan Campbell. I believe in the front office. I saw enough in Jared Goff to go, okay, that's not an albatross contract.
Right.
As I told you it was going to be.
Yeah.
That he's not that much worse than Matthew Stafford. The difference is that Matthew Stafford makes guys around him better. Mm-hmm. I don't know that Jared Goff will ever do that. Jared Goff can be a fine top 20 in the NFL quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
Still better than Baker Mayfield. And to me, not really all that close.
It was a pretty good game for Jared Goff in his first start going up against the 49ers. I know they got dusted the second half. The 49ers took the foot off the gas pedal. But being able to engineer a comeback like that and be in striking distance at the end of the game, I got to give them credit for that. Now, what you said about their talent, I understand.
That does to you. I don't care that much that, we made it close.
Yep.
That doesn't
But
really
when you're
mean
looking
a whole
at
lot to me.
teams this bad in the NFL, I mean, moral victories have to come into play at some point because the actual victories, there aren't going to be very many of them.
Moral victories only count to Democrats and then horseshoes and hand grenades. So I'm good. Here's what, if you want something to be encouraged about, here's something you can be encouraged about.
Okay.
How many teams in the NFL had more yards than the Detroit Lions this week?
3.
7. You're in the top quarter of the NFL, and you were playing a markedly better defense than most of them played. Mm-hmm. Or you have so much less talent that's impressive. You're going to be able to move the ball. DeAndre Swift was a guy we said does avoid like hell in fantasy football. If you can go get that guy now, because whoever wound up with him goes, hey, he had a good week and is willing to sell him off, do it right now. I mean, I'm not giving high-end capital for him.
Okay.
But if somebody come off DeAndre Swift for Mike Davis and trying to think of a receiver that had a better game than they're going to have all year, Brandon Cooks. If I can get DeAndre Swift from Mike Davis and Brandon Cooks, I'll do it right freaking now. And wouldn't think a second thing about it. And hey, I got a running back too from here on out.
Right.
And I'll be really honest with you, I feel the same way about Jamal Williams. Not that high. I wouldn't give up that much for Jamal Williams, but it's not far off.
Yeah, I don't know that you're going to get too many people that would offer you that much for Jamal Williams, but he was number 2 running back in fantasy football this past week. So,
and I'll be honest with you, they're both going to be fantasy relevant going forward.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the reason, because they're both used in the passing game, and Detroit's going to be behind all the time.
There you go. They got slaughtered in this game. You would think that would have an effect on the running backs, and they were 2 and 6?
Yeah.
In PPR.
2 and 4.
2 and 4.
Yeah.
So, to me, I don't have a whole lot of fear. I think that's probably the worst game script they'll see, not all year, but it'll be one of the worst ones they see all year. And they were still that good.
All right, now time for the New York teams. The New York Giants at number 28. I still can't figure out how this front office looks at this team and goes, yeah, we're fine. We're good. That line is horrid.
As a fan of a New York team,
yeah,
I feel as though I have to say this. Start spreading the news. These teams blow. Neither one of them's good, and they're headed in opposite directions. Right. I at least think the Jets are young and getting better.
Right.
I like the coach. I like the GM. The Giants, I can't say one nice thing about you. My mother once told me as a child, if you have nothing nice to say nothing at all. So,
27-13 loss to the Denver Broncos. Saquon Barkley, again, had no room to run. He had 10 carries for 26 yards. Now, he was, on a limited snap count because he's still returning from the injury. But even when he gets 100%, do you expect him to have huge games?
No.
I mean, there'll be a couple of big runs. He'll bust off a couple of big ones because he's an elite athlete.
3 teams in the NFL had less rushing yards than the Giants last week.
But he's not going to have, this huge, like he had in his rookie season. I think those days are gone for him, at least until they finish that line.
Until he gets away from there. Until he gets out of New York. And we told you this in the lead up to fantasy football. Until he gets out of there, I would say he's a back-end RB2. Mm-hmm. And everybody and their brother told me I was out of my mind. How do you feel right now?
Right.
Oh, you took him in the first round? How you feel?
You feel shitty about it.
Warm and fuzzy?
No.
Because you think it's going to get better? I don't.
The New York Jets, next up in the Week 2 power rankings. Your Jets went to Carolina, lose 19-14. There were some things to like about Zach Wilson's start to his career. Already seeing the connection with Corey Davis, 2 touchdowns for him. There are things to like.
The defense is markedly better than I thought.
But this is still not this is still not a good team.
It's not a good team, but I at least like where you're headed. The defense is, as I tried to tell you, better than you thought it was. Mm-hmm. Christian McCaffrey, until the very end of that game, he ran nowhere. Against the run, the Jets were actually really good until they had just been on the field for, I think they were on the field for like 10 out of 14 minutes or something like that in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So, it got worn down and the stats were misleading. The defense is not bad. That Jets team will beat teams that you don't expect them to beat. It's not going to be this week against New England, I don't think.
I would doubt it.
They're closer than you think they are. I'm just telling you, and this is not Jets homer. He can tell you we were in dead lockstep of everything we saw with the Jets. Mm-hmm. Here's what I'll tell you. If you can't get to a quarterback, that kid's going to hurt you. That kid will hurt you if he has time, because I watch. You gotta understand, we were in a box for the Jets game, so I'm literally watching every receiver en route. Elijah Moore was open a lot. Mm-hmm. And if your secondary can't cover him and you can't get to the quarterback as quick as Carolina was on top of him before he got to the end of the drop.
Right.
And I think you're going to see a lot of teams that do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at teams like they play the Broncos in a couple weeks. I don't know that they'll beat them. I don't know that this team's good enough to beat a team on the road.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put the fear of God in them.
You think so?
I do. I think they'll put the fear of God in them.
Despite the fact that they're going to be able to get. That is a team that's going to be able to get after
What I think is that the defense is markedly better than you think. I thought the secondary was an abject disaster going into the season. According to Pro Football Focus, do you know how many secondaries graded better than the Jets? I mean, it's still a number. It's not 2.
12.
It's 9.
Okay.
Looking at what started for this team, literally we got the call sheet in the press box and I went, oh, fuck. This is not going to end well. And I even knew the depth chart, but seeing it on paper, I just went, oh, God.
Yeah.
And it didn't go that way.
Yeah.
They had there were a couple blown coverages, and I'll be honest with you, the 2 big plays that they allowed, one to Robbie Anderson, one to, is it Terrace Marshall or DJ Moore? I think it's DJ Moore.
DJ Moore.
The 2 big plays they had, they were both on the same guy. Mm-hmm. Sheldrick Redwine, who was literally just signed 4 days ago.
Yeah.
And he replaced LaMarcus Joyner. Injuries are going to kill this team. They're going to win 4 or 5 games. But they're headed in the right direction.
Okay. Directly in front of the New York teams is
the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, the Minnesota Vikings are so bad, and we know that now because they just lost to one of the worst teams in the NFL, the Cincinnati Bengals, 27-24 in overtime. And the Vikings just had a hell of a time. Their offensive line, which I thought on paper at the beginning of the year wasn't going to be all that bad. In fact, top half of the NFL.
When they're running.
Yeah.
This is something I tried to tell you.
The pass protection.
You have 4 of 5 plus graded run blockers. Mm-hmm. You have 5 negative graded pass blockers against a team that can get after you. And I don't even think the pass rush for the Bengals is good.
No.
And it was still abundantly obvious. Dalton Hill, what was his name? I can't remember his first name. His last name's Hill. He's playing left tackle right now until Christian Darrisaw can get acclimated.
Yep.
He may legitimately be the worst offensive lineman I've ever seen in my life.
It was penalties. Penalty after penalty after penalty for the Vikings. It killed any good drives that they had working.
They're just undisciplined. Mm-hmm. And this is what this is something I said in the preseason. Mike Zimmer has spent so much time talking about coronavirus. That's not your job. And I've tried to say this. I've said it till I was blue in the face. When this backfires, and it's gonna, you're gonna look like a dipshit. You have a whole front office to deal with those things. Your job is to deal with the team. And that's all he's talked about for a month. At the end of the day, there's going to be people like me that scout and watch tape and go, there are a lot of things that you should have figured this out in week 1 of camp. Mm-hmm. And you haven't. And so that makes me think you've been distracted by the blah, blah, blah. And that's all well and good. You do you. It's going to cost you your job. If there was one coach that I was more confident gets fired before this season's over than Mike Zimmer, I don't know who it is.
Really? Not even Urban Meyer, as bad as things are.
Urban Meyer won't get fired. He'll quit.
Matt Nagy.
He always says that trump card of I can throw Justin Fields in here at any time.
This is true.
The Vikings don't have shit.
Right.
They have an older roster. Okay, so what's the great white knight coming off the hill?
Yeah.
You don't have one. So yeah, I mean, Mike's and you're predicated on defense, and you just let Joe Mixon run the ball down your damn throat.
Mm-hmm. And the secondary wasn't good either.
Bad.
They gave up
bad wrong.
Well, they gave up 10 yards per pass, which is not good. And we knew it. It was predictable with the attrition, with guys leaving. I mean, I thought maybe Patrick Peterson coming into town would make a little bit of a difference, but he's not an impact player in the NFL anymore. He's a good veteran presence, we think, but it didn't pan out on the field. Nope. All right. The Minnesota Vikings, Cincinnati Bengals can't be far behind. Oh, we got a little ways to go. Chicago Bears.
They suck something awful.
What, as long as Andrew Dalton is the quarterback, or you just don't care?
I don't care if the quarterback – I'll put it this way. I don't care if the quarterback of the Chicago Bears is Andrew Dalton, Justin Fields, Jim McMahon, Jesus Christ. I don't care. Because guess what? They don't play defense. That defense is a joke.
Yep.
They had two of the worst blown coverages I've ever seen. I mean, literally, it's the worst I've ever seen. I don't know heads up, eyes up what a safety is looking at to go, ooh, let me go this way. Mm-hmm. Cooper Kupp drilled him on one on one, and I can't remember who caught the other one. And then you have the Van Jefferson play where, oh, we just don't touch him down, and he gets back up and runs away. It's bad coaching. It's the defensive coordinator is, you need a cookie or something, because that defense has regressed to such a point. That's why I had Chicago higher in the preseason. I at least thought you'd be able to stop people. I didn't think you were going to score easily, but I didn't think your defense would be that bad.
Yeah.
That defense is bad.
Well.
And it's not, oh, Matt Stafford's so great. I think he's good. I mean, as you can see, if you've scrolled ahead, you see where I have the LA Rams. I think that team's good. I think a lot of teams are going to do that to you.
Yeah, but that's the thing is this: the Chicago Bears go in against the LA Rams. You know what they're going to do. You know they're going to pass the ball. Granted, Sean McVay runs the ball more than you think. I understand that. But you knew that's how they were going to hurt you. Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, even Van Jefferson. And you could do nothing to stop it.
There were, according to Pro Football Focus grades, there were two offensive lines in the league worse than the Bears on Sunday. Care to take a stab at who they were?
One would have to be Minnesota.
Nope.
Really?
Minnesota's not even in the bottom five.
Holy
That's how
cow.
bad some of these other teams were.
Right. I don't know. Who?
The New York Giants were 32.
Okay.
And 31 was the Carolina Panthers.
Really?
They just on a pass rush, so they didn't exploit it.
Yeah.
A lot of Panther fans will say, oh, you're too low on them, and we'll get to that in a minute. That's why. I saw things that would scare me if I'm a Panthers fan.
Right.
Saw a lot of things to be really encouraged about. Saw things that would scare me too.
Yeah.
But that Bears line is so bad. I'll be honest with you, I feel like after week one, I don't know that you want to see Justin Fields. I don't know that it would go well. Behind that offensive line, his inability to check down, well, I shouldn't say inability, his refusal to check down. Line calls on and on and on. I just think things could go very badly. And I think that's why you're not going to see him. You'll see him in these designed packages like you saw on Sunday.
Yeah. The Chicago Bears have to play the Cincinnati Bengals this week. And if you
the Bengals are going to be 2-0, and that just makes me want to puke in my shoes.
And if you've got Cincinnati wide receivers on your team, exactly, it's going to be very nice. The Philadelphia Eagles at number 24.
I want to have them lower, but the 8 teams behind them are such a poop sandwich that I can't. I can't have them any lower.
Yeah. The 32-6 win over the Atlanta Falcons, it has swayed too many people. There are too many people jumping to conclusions after week one going, oh, look, the Philadelphia Eagles, they could be a threat in the NFC East. No, I don't believe that they can. I said yesterday on the ESPN Asheville show, Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, weekdays 3 to 5, that I started to come around a little bit after week one on the Philadelphia Eagles, but I went from 3 wins to maybe 6, maybe, if they get lucky.
I went from 3 to 5.
3 to 5 wins?
Actually, I think I went from 2 to 4, if I was being honest. Let's play a fun game.
It can't sway you much.
And I'm sorry to poop in your dinner there, Eagles fans. Here's your schedule from now until this is from now until Thanksgiving. You go 49ers, at the Cowboys, Chiefs, at the Panthers, Buccaneers, at the Raiders, at the Lions, Chargers, at the Broncos, Saints. You will not win one of those games.
Not one.
You'll beat the...
Not at Detroit?
You might beat the Lions. You might beat the Lions. On the road.
Yep.
It's on the road.
Yep.
Do I think those teams are 3 points different than each other? No. And a team with a good pass rush, which I got news for you, the Atlanta Falcons do not. Jason Kelsey, sorry, buddy, it's over. Landon Dickerson should be the starting center of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm not backing off that.
Yeah.
He was a fucking disaster against arguably the worst pass rush in the league.
Now, because they faced the Falcons, it's hard to say whether or not the defense is okay.
The front four is fine.
The secondary, on paper, it looks like there might be some bright spots. I mean, Darius Slay, we still believe he's really good, or pretty good. But are they going to be able to? Are they going to be able to contain teams?
Let me put it this way.
Yep.
Avonte Maddox and Darius Slay were both top 15 graded corners in week 1. It'll never happen again. Not both. Darius Slay might be fine, but I feel like they're going to ask him to do a lot.
Right.
They're going to send heat as often as they can to try to get to quarterbacks because the secondary is not good. Problem is that you're going up against Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes and Jameis Winston, and good luck. I mean, I hope you enjoyed week 1. It was fine. You're not going to win a lot of games. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule now. With the win over the Falcons, I took the Eagles from 2 wins to 4. That is exactly because I had them splitting with the Giants and I had them beating somebody else. I think I had them maybe beating the Lions. Okay, well, you got the Falcons, and now I would say you probably beat the Giants twice. You think you're going to beat Washington? Even with Taylor Heineke? Okay. I get to throw Chase Young at Jalen Hurts. Good luck with that.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of Bucks and Saints and really good teams on that schedule, so not going to be too many wins for them. Number 23, the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, they won the overtime game against the Minnesota Vikings, who were, committed a lot of penalties. The secondary was bad. They're getting ready to face the Chicago Bears team, whose secondary is bad. So Joe Burrow's going to look good again.
The Cincinnati Bengals are most likely, and here's my fait accompli, because trust me, I've had a lot of Bengals fans go, "You ready to change that number yet?" All right.
Nope.
Here's my take on the Cincinnati Bengals. I haven't changed my mind one fucking drop. And here's why. You're going to start 4-2 because you play the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Chicago Bears. You will win those 4 games, and then you will not win another game all year. They'll be 4-2 and will literally end 4-13.
Yeah.
There is one game down the line that they might be able to win, and that's at the Jets. But I don't really believe them. I don't believe this team on the road at all.
Yep.
They could lose this week to the Bears. I don't believe in bad teams on the road. I don't think they're going to. I think the offense is so good that Chicago can't keep up with it, especially with that defense with just mental lapses everywhere. But after you play the Lions,
I was going to say that back end of the schedule's
awful. At the Ravens, at the Jets, Browns, Raiders, Steelers, Chargers, 49ers at the Broncos, Ravens, Chiefs, Browns. You will be a double-digit dog 8 out of 9 games.
That's no doubt.
So before you're so much better than you thought we were. No, you're not. No, you're not. You beat a bad team. And good for you. Joe Burrow looked good. Joe Mixon was able to run the ball. A lot of things went your way. If you can tell me who on that schedule you're going to beat, and before you say the Broncos, I need you to understand it's in Mile High the week before Christmas. Good luck with that, because that defense is mean.
Yep.
And Teddy Bridgewater's not going to beat them.
Jamar Chase, that was the one bright spot of the week, was that after all the struggles that he had in the offseason, in the preseason, with dropping balls and not seeing the ball properly because it didn't have that little white stripe on it, he had a hell of an opening game.
He had a decent enough game.
I think that's something to take home, though, if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
Yeah, And my fear now is that you're going to start seeing number one coverage at Jamar Chase. Mm-hmm. Because here's what I learned of T. Higgins. He's not a one. T. Higgins is a very, very good two. And Tyler Boyd is borderline still alive.
Borderline still alive?
He just has so little of a role in that offense.
Well, you also have to think about...
He had 4 targets.
Yeah.
He's the most talented receiver. He's the most talented NFL receiver on that team.
But is he the first look? Is my question.
No.
I don't think Tyler Boyd is ever the first look, and the problem is Joe Burrow doesn't have time to work through progressions because his line's bad. And so, and maybe that didn't come to bear in the Minnesota game, but it's gonna in these other games. In the Denver game, for example, when you have to face Pittsburgh, it's going to cut the Baltimore Ravens. You're just in a division, and your schedule plays in that. You got a lot of good pass rushing teams. And Joe Burrow just doesn't have that kind of time. I thought that was there were 2 key takeaways. Joe Burrow didn't shit his pants, and Jamar Chase actually caught the ball. 2 big takeaways, and we can be happy. And they're going to get insufferable. We all know Cincinnati Bengals fans. They're going to get insufferable when they come down 4-2 to start out the season.
And then it will all come tumbling after.
It will all come crashing down like the Hindenburg. Ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals at number 22, the Denver Broncos.
I want to cover both these teams at the same time. I want to do 21 and 22 at the same time.
All right, Denver Broncos 22. Washington football team is at 21.
I have very similar takes on both teams.
Well, they're very similar teams. Both teams have good defenses, and they don't have a quarterback. Yeah.
Washington, and I never felt great about Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I thought he would be fine. Mm-hmm. With Taylor Heineke, now I just feel like you don't have anybody that can challenge you down the field.
Yep.
And as time wears on, that's going to be a problem. Those 2 defenses are fierce. They will keep you in every game. I just think the ceiling is so low. Best case scenario, everything goes as hunky-dunky as it could possibly go. How good can either of these quarterbacks be?
I think Teddy Bridgewater has a higher ceiling than Taylor Heineke.
I don't.
You don't? Why?
Teddy Bridgewater has no deep ball to speak of. You can load 8 in the box against them on every single play.
Okay.
Because he cannot beat you deep. And if you blitz him, the Giants couldn't do this. Mm-hmm. You're going to see teams that will. Teddy's not going to beat you. I don't think he's ever going to win games for you either. And to expect Melvin Gordon to have a season like he had in week 1, I think is a fool's errand. And if you're being really honest with yourself, he had, what, a 70-yard run?
Yes.
It's a 70-yard touchdown run?
Yep, 70-yard touchdown run. He had 101 total.
Other than that, he was 10 carries for 31 yards. Mm-hmm. Javonte Williams was 14 carries for 45 yards. That's 3 yards per carry. That's not good enough. And that's against a bad defense. Mm-hmm. That's not good enough to carry a Teddy Bridgewater-led offense. It's just not. I know he had a great game against the Giants.
Yep.
I don't think it's replicable, and I don't think it's going to keep happening. Now, Washington, I feel the same way. Taylor Heineke, I actually feel like has a bit of a deep ball and has a deep ball receiver in Terry McLaurin.
Okay.
I think that opens things up a little bit. I believe in Antonio Gibson more than I believe in the 2 Denver running backs. That's why I have them 1 spot ahead of them. But I think they're the same team at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The difference is one plays in the best division in football, one plays in the worst division in football.
Right. We overlooked, and I say we I think overlooked how important it was going to be for them to have a good quarterback. The Washington football team's defense is so good, they're so star-laden, especially on the front, that we looked at it and went, you know what, this is a team that they can be carried by their defense. And I think they will be in a lot of games this year. But the question is your quarterback play going to be good enough to get you over the hump and get you into the playoffs? And I don't know that it is. You're going to be good enough to be the second best team in your division. Mm-hmm. The problem is, can you be the 7th best team in the NFC?
I'm going to say no, because there are 4 teams in one division that are better than you.
Yeah, in the NFC West, every
team in the NFC West is better than any team in the NFC East.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Seattle Seahawks over the Dallas Cowboys?
It's close.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't think I have it ranked that way, but you know.
It is what it is.
Sometimes we talk out of both sides of our mouth. Oh, I do. I have them one spot ahead. Go me!
Good for you. Good for you. The Washington football team and the Denver Broncos, they're in very similar situations where if you had a better quarterback, I would believe in you much, much more. The New England Patriots are 20. This is the team that I had problems with. Like, how high do you go? How low do you go with the New England Patriots? We believe in Mac Jones. We don't necessarily believe in the weapons that he has. But I think this plays into the structure of this team, plays into what you need to ask a rookie quarterback to do. Be efficient. You don't have to take too many shots down the field. We're going to run the ball a lot. We're going to play steady defense, and we're going to see where that takes us.
I don't believe in either of the non-Buffalo or any of the non-Buffalo Bills teams in the AFC East.
Okay.
Here's what I saw from New England. That's the most sludged-out game you're going to have all year, and you lost. Mm-hmm. You still play the Saints, the Bucks, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Panthers, the Browns, the Titans, the Bills twice, the Colts, and the Dolphins. Every one of those teams has a better offense than you do. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Bill schematically can set the defense up in a position to win. And this is what I said about Mac Jones in the pre-draft process. I don't know that he's ever going to win these games for you. I don't know that he'll ever be the guy that can come in and do the Brady-like thing and get the ball with 2 minutes to go, drive down the field, put you in the end zone and win games. I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. Notice I said good. I did not say great. Mm-hmm. I didn't say any other adjective. Mm-hmm. He's going to be hunky-dunky. But I feel like because he's a kind of chubby, unathletic white guy, people go, hey, it's Tom Brady too. No, the fuck it's not. No, it's not. Stop doing that. Stop doing that.
He doesn't have the arm?
He doesn't have it. Kind of like Nancy Reagan said about porn. I can't tell you what it is until I see it. But I know it when I see it.
Okay.
And he doesn't. He has a very good control of the offense.
Yeah.
I think he's a very smart kid. Mm-hmm. I think athletically, he's in the bottom 5% of the NFL at every position, including kickers. And at some point, that's going to get you.
But how athletic does he have to be? I mean,
looking
at the way
really well.
I think he finds an opening.
That's kind of my point. He doesn't have the arrow in the quiver of I'm laser accurate. I never make mistakes. You're a rookie.
Yeah.
I have a huge arm. I can escape with my feet. There's none of that. He has none of those things. He's good or fine at practically everything. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the weapons and you look at that team, that's going to be good enough to go about 8, 9, 9, and 8.
Yeah.
And miss the playoffs.
I can agree with that.
New England has to win. So when I looked at the schedule, New England has to win every one of these 50-50 games like they have with the Colts, the Dolphins. You have to win all those to make the playoffs. Well, you're already down 1.
Yeah.
You've already lost 1. So I just don't I don't see it. I think it's going to be good. But we give Belichick the benefit of the doubt in places that we shouldn't. If you watch this game, you saw a lot of things that you went, ugh. And nobody wants to say it because it's Bill.
Right.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, Miami gave them all the chances. Now they did the same thing back. That was the thing that I took away from this game was the second half of this ball game. Both teams acted like they didn't want to win it. Miami kept giving New England chances, and then New England would turn around and give the ball right back to them. It was frustration to a T, but I think a lot of their games are going to be like this.
I do too.
There's going to be a lot of this 17-16 types of games. Carolina Panthers, 19-14 win over the New York Jets.
We've already, talked a good deal about the Panthers. They kind of are what they are. I like Sam. I think they'll be able to score. I look at them very similarly to I look at the Patriots. I don't know that you have that high gear, but I look at the pieces and go, Carolina has more pieces that I like than New England does.
Yep.
And I saw enough in Sam to go, you're going to win the games that you're supposed to. I want to see him win a game that he's not supposed to before I can have them any higher than this. Because they're one spot behind the Dolphins, who we just talked about.
Right.
I want to see Tua win a game he's not supposed to win. He's won a 50-50 game, which is impressive. Darnold has not done that. Darnold won a game he was supposed to. Let me see you against a team that has, because there were a lot of how do I put this? There were a lot of warts with Miami and Carolina. It was real easy for me to put them back to back because I saw a lot of similar things with the two of them. The one difference is Carolina can run and Miami could not run a greasy peg up a cat's ass.
Right. So. And it's funny that you have this configuration on your power rankings because I had the exact same one. The Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots split by the Carolina Panthers. Because there are positives to each one of these teams, but there are drawbacks as well that's going to limit their ability to be good, like really good this year. The Indianapolis Colts at 17. What did you think of the first week of the Carson Wentz era?
It wasn't terrible. The line did him no favors. He still holds on to the ball too damn long. And if Jonathan Taylor can't get going, they're in trouble. Jonathan Taylor has to stay on time every week, or the Colts will be in trouble. They're going to start 0-3.
No doubt.
They may start 0-5.
Yikes. Who do they play next?
They play the Rams, which is their last game at home for almost a month. Then they go at the Titans, at the Dolphins, at the Ravens. That is a gross start to schedule.
That is very rough.
And then it doesn't lean up much more from that. You play the Texans, then you go 49ers, Titans. You can go Jets, Jaguars. And then you get the Bills and the Buccaneers. It's just, and then the Colts are going to be one of those teams that's better than the record says they are. Because they're going to lose a shitload of the games I just said.
Right.
At the Cardinals. I mean, they just don't have a lot of winnable games on the schedule. You get the Jaguars twice, you get the Texans twice, you get the Jets. And other than that, the Colts could go 5-12, and I wouldn't be shocked at all.
And it's crazy because you think about that defense, you think about Carson Wentz. If he could reclaim some of that glory that he had in Philadelphia, you would think this could be a playoff team.
Now, let me know, they're not going to do that. I would say they finished somewhere in that 7-10, 8-9, 9-8, 10-7. For them to get to 10 wins would take a freaking miracle.
But it's a real possibility.
It's 100%
It's a definite possibility.
If they don't win a game that they're not supposed to win, they'll be a dog 12 times.
Yep.
They will be a dog 12 times because after they just pooed their pants at home against Seattle, Vegas is going to be really nervous of doing that again. This week you get the Rams in your building. Did you see what the Rams did to the Bears?
Yep.
They're going to be a dog. That game, no matter what happens, they're going to be a dog and probably a pretty aggressive one. And then you have to go on the road and win. And I just don't overly see it.
All right, top half of the power rankings starts off at number 15
with the two hardest teams for me to rank in the NFL.
The Los Angeles Chargers and the Tennessee Titans at 15 and 16. I believe in the Chargers. I believe in the offense. Justin Herbert. What's their problem?
Honestly,
yep.
The schedule, it's gross. Cowboys at the Chiefs, Raiders, Browns, Ravens, Patriots. That's a lot of aggressive games in a row. And you're asking a sophomore quarterback to do a lot.
Yeah.
Cowboys this weekend, it'll be fun. I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm in a shootout. I get Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
You get Keenan Allen.
And
Austin
Williams. And Mike Williams.
Go get somewhere with Mike Williams.
What?
Mike Williams is probably the most overrated wide receiver in the NFL.
He's not great, but he's pretty damn good.
He's fine. He's fine. And he's going to get hurt in 2 weeks.
He very well could.
He's Mike Williams and Raheem Mostert are battling for the, man, you're real good when you're on the field, but you're never on the field title.
20-16, the Chargers beat the Washington football team this past week. It was good to finally see the Chargers win a game that was close late. Now, granted, Washington handed them the ball, literally handed them the ball at the 4-yard line to make that happen.
And if that doesn't happen, they lose. That's why they're 16.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans are 15 because you got shellacked by the Arizona Cardinals in your home building.
Yes, they did.
And they started real high. I couldn't drop them any lower. There's not a team behind them that I could have ahead of them.
Right.
But damn, there was a lot to not like. There was a lot of undiscipline. And I mean, Mike Vrabel said it about Julio Jones doing dumb shit. That was dumb shit. Those little mental errors are things that Ryan Tannehill quarterback teams can't do. And I have a huge reservation about Derrick Henry, and I'm just going to keep saying it. I'm not going to tell you he's not going to have big games, because he will. He will have big games. I'm afraid he's going to have several games like the one we just saw, where he could not get out of his own way.
38-13 is a pretty embarrassing way to start out your season at home. At number 14 on the power rankings list, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
There you go.
You're not wrong. 33-27 in overtime. You stood up to the Baltimore Ravens, who, I mean, I'll be honest with you, going into that game, I didn't think that they were going to be all that competitive. I thought this would be a 2-score game easy. It was not. Derek Carr came out and looked great. He was throwing darts. You can say what you want about the Baltimore Ravens defense, but are you really going to try to play that game with me? Because I've seen a lot of people trying to say, the Baltimore Ravens defense is just overrated.
Well, those people
that's
stupid.
One of the best defenses year in and year out in the NFL.
And here's the thing. The biggest drawback I had on the Raiders, the defense was fast. It looked really fast. Undisciplined, but fast. The biggest drawback I had of the entire game was the offensive line, and you were missing probably your second best offensive lineman. Richie Incognito did not play in that game, and he will be back in short order. Alex Leatherwood, one hang-up I have, Alex Leatherwood's a guard. He's a guard, he's a guard, he's a guard, he's a guard. I will say it until kingdom come. I do not care how you view him. So I said in the draft process that there were 2 teams that were going to take Alex Leatherwood if the Raiders didn't take him. They both viewed him as a guard. And he showed why. He's too flat-footed to play tackle. The quicker they figure that out, the better. And now that Denzel Good is done for the year, this is a really convenient excuse to go, hey, Alex. Because then I think you have a plus guard. What you're going to do at right tackle, I ain't got the damnedest of a clue. Call Mitchell Schwartz. I don't know. Do something. You'll have to do something on that right side because Alex Leatherwood cannot do it.
He got beat time and time again, and as you said, he was just slow.
He's flat-footed.
He was slow in his kick. He's trying to kick back, and it was the defensive end was around him before he even got set back. It was not a good look for a guy that a lot of people said they overdrafted him. You even said they overdrafted him, but they like but that's their guy, and you go get your guy. Understood.
I'll never really fault you for going to get your guy. I mean, there's something to be said for value, and I understand all of those things.
All right. At number 13, who is it?
The Dallas Cowboys.
This feels a little low to me. I mean, I know they lost. They're 0-1.
Tell me who they would be in front of.
Who would they be in front of? The Seattle Seahawks.
Who just beat the bejesus out of the Colts. They're an electric offense, too.
Yeah, but the Dallas almost beat Tampa. Probably should have beaten Tampa.
Almost only counts to Democrats and in horseshoes and hand grenades. I am none of those. So, sorry. I mean, look, I bumped you up 4 spots, I think, from where I had you last week. You're ahead of 3 teams that I like a lot. You're not getting in front of Seattle and Cleveland without beating somebody.
Yeah.
Now, the good thing is you have a hell of an opportunity this weekend because you play the Los Angeles Chargers. Win that game, now then we'll talk. Because I think Seattle is going to have a bit of a wet down this week.
The defense looked much better than it did last year. Obviously, it wouldn't be hard to do that, but going up against, who is the defending champions and going to be in the I think they're still 2 for you. Of course, they're still my 1. I think the Dallas Cowboys have a lot to be happy about, and
they do. This is not a slight.
No.
It's that the top half of this league is really good.
You got the Seattle Seahawks directly in front of the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, Russ cooking. It works out pretty well.
They have pass rush problems.
Yep.
Don't let week 1 against the Colts fool you. I'm just telling you, they have pass rush problems. They have defense problems. Let a legitimate quarterback come in there, and you're going to see one this week in Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
I'm just telling you. They have back half issues. The offense is unbelievable, and Russell Wilson is the 4th best player in the NFL. I mean, he's ungodly. And that's why they're 12. Because if you took Russell Wilson off this team, they'd be 25.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see Russ cook this week against the Tennessee Titans because you saw what the Arizona Cardinals just did to him. And now Russ, he's gonna have a day. And guess what? After that, he's the Minnesota Vikings, who just made Joe Burrow look really, really good.
Just don't throw dirt on the Titans just yet.
I'm not throwing dirt on the Titans. I'm just saying that regardless of how good they can be, they're not going to be able to stop the passing attack of the Seattle Seahawks. It's not going to happen. Next up, the Cleveland Browns at number 11.
If they had any other quarterback, they'd be in the top 6.
Baker made the Baker play at the end of the game.
He did
against
what he
the Kansas
does.
City Chiefs. Yeah,
that's what he does. He is not a good quarterback, and you're getting ready to pay him.
They're number 11 after the 33-29 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. I tried not to ding them too much for that.
You should.
But it's the way the game ended.
You have to learn to win. This team is still the Browns. And you still have, be honest with yourself. How many quarterbacks in the NFL would you take over Baker Mayfield? When you get to 20, that's when you go, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because look at the teams in front of them. And I already know what people are going to say. You have Green Bay in front of Cleveland? You're fucking right, I do. You are damn right I do.
I get
Aaron Rodgers. Because if you're telling me I get Aaron Rodgers, you get Baker Mayfield on a neutral site, I will lay any number you want to give me. I don't buy Baker. I think the team is good, but you're going to see a lot of what you just saw this week.
Yep. They'll be able to go blow for teams, but when it comes down to crunch time, it's just they're not going to be able to get the job done. At number 10, the Green Bay Packers.
Now, here's the thing I will say about the Browns. They're not going to be challenged for almost a month. They go Texans, Bears, at the Vikings. That's 3 of the easiest wins you'll ever see in your life. Problem is, after that, they go at the Chargers, Cardinals, Broncos, Steelers.
Yeah.
That is a meaty clacker portion of your schedule.
Well, it's going to be a slap in the face after the next 3 weeks. They put up 40 points at least on all of those teams.
Yep.
And then you get into the meat of the schedule. At number 10, you got the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers and company had the worst game they've ever had together. It was the worst game of Aaron Rodgers' career. I think he had, what was the QBR was like 14 or 12 or something.
It was 12, yeah. We can do 10 and 9 together because a lot of people will ask, how do you, after what New Orleans did to Green Bay, how do you have them so close? Because it was the best humanly possible day for the Saints and the worst one for the Packers.
Yeah.
So, I don't change what I'm – you will never see me move a team more than 4 or 5 spots in a week.
Yeah.
Because one game is not going to an opinion change. I still think the Saints have some problems. They had a very good week against Green Bay. It was a weird week in Jacksonville, and now they all have Rona. What that means, I don't know. But ESPN really wants you to think it's the end of the fucking world.
But the question is, are they going to be able to continue to have performances like that? Are you going to see uber-efficient Jameis Winston, who throws 14 times and throws 5 touchdown passes?
You'll never see that again, but you'll see Jameis Winston that has 20 to 24 completions a week averages maybe a half an interception a week. I would say, based off what I saw, the Sean Payton system with the misdirection and Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara is going to take the onus out of Jameis Winston's hands, which is what he has always needed.
Yeah.
Is stop putting so much on me, because the arm talent's tremendous.
Mm-hmm. The accuracy has always been the question, and throwing it to the wrong damn guys.
But, I mean, I believe in New Orleans now to a point that I hadn't before. And just be careful. That's a team that cannot withstand injuries. Them and the Rams. That's two of the thinnest teams in the league. You have a little New York Jets, San Francisco 49ers, Baltimore Ravens level injury week, and your fortunes could change precipitously.
Yes, very much so. I am still hesitant to put them, even despite the win, I'm still hesitant to put them above the Green Bay Packers in my power rankings.
A team, for me, you can't beat a team 38-3 and me not put. I mean, that's ass kicking.
Oh, yeah. There ain't no doubt about that. The Baltimore Ravens at number 8, Lamar Jackson and company. What is their big problem?
The offensive line was not great. Mm-hmm. And for a team that wants to run the ball down your throat, that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah. But as they go to the next man up in that running back core, I think that's going to get better. The line will have, there's going to be some gelling issues, but we think that's obviously a talented team.
They're a very talented team. The line scares me. And stop with this. We're going to put Lamar Jackson in the pocket and let him throw 35 times. You can look. I can want this. I can want this bell to be a cheeseburger until my fucking ears bleed. It's not going to happen. You can want Lamar Jackson to be a pocket quarterback until your ears bleed. It is not going to happen.
Right.
You take away his best weapon, of which he did not run as much as I thought he would. Still ran a lot, but there was a lot of drop back and just because there's no speed control. That 5-yard swing pass comes out at the same velocity that 25-yard out route comes out.
Yep.
And that's just a recipe for disaster to me. I still believe in Baltimore. I think people undervalued the Raiders. I said it all off season long. I'm not saying any names. And first game in Vegas, I didn't ding Baltimore much. I think they fell a spot for me.
Yeah. I couldn't drop them much in my power rankings either. I still believe this is a really good team. And they got a little unlucky. Yeah. They've been a little unlucky the last couple of weeks with all of the injuries and stuff. They'll figure it out. It's not going to be a problem.
Just let Latavius Murray get acclimated. He's the best running back in that backfield.
Yep.
They'll get back on pace. It's fine.
At number 7, the Arizona Cardinals, who just killed the Tennessee Titans, and Kyler Murray's MVP race has begun.
I'm going to put this as delicately as I can. If you fall in love with somebody and they blow your balls, it's going to take you a minute to forgive them. That's the Arizona Cardinals for me.
They blow your boss?
Boss.
Nice.
It's going to take you a minute to forgive them.
Uh-huh.
The Arizona Cardinals pee-peed in my punch bowl enough times last year. They were great week 1. I ain't putting them any higher than this. Not for now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to see you do it again.
Okay. I think I had them at 6 on my power rankings. After that win, it just looked so dominant, and I don't know. To me, they look easily like one of the best 4 teams in the NFC.
Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, as somebody that has been in love with the Cardinals for quite some time, as soon as you trust them, there they go back to working late.
Right.
No, I'm just telling you. You trust that at your own leisure.
Okay.
If I see it a couple more times, all right, now we'll talk.
All right.
But just that one where Tennessee was just clueless. Plus, you had a defensive end with 5 sacks. So, you had an edge guy with 5 sacks against one player.
Well, you're not going to get that.
That's kind of rare.
Yeah, you're not going to get that every week, obviously, but I don't know that defense can't do something similar.
The defense
as a crew.
The defense is vastly improved. The only thing I'm just going to keep warning you about is they're in the toughest division I've ever seen in the NFL. At some point, one of those teams is going to sink, and the other three are going to swim.
Well, they're going to get the
and I don't think they're the one that sinks. Just let that be known. I'm just not so dead committed to them as I am the two in front of them.
Well, they're going to get out to a 3-0 start on the season with the Minnesota Vikings and the Jacksonville Jaguars next.
But see, the most Arizona Cardinal shit in the world would be they come in and lose to Minnesota. That would be the most Arizona Cardinal thing you've ever seen in your life. How it would happen, I ain't got the damnedest of a clue.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook runs for 200 yards the week after you shut Derrick Henry down.
Yeah.
That would be the most Cardinal thing you've ever seen.
But then you go Rams, 49ers, Browns after that.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not pretty.
So the test is going to come, but it's going to be it's not going to be probably till week 4 of the season.
Correct.
And now, are we at the top 5? Nope,
Top
we got
6.
the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 6.
I tried to tell you.
Yeah, they beat the Buffalo Bills.
Ugly.
I get
They
it.
didn't play well, and they still beat them.
But they did.
Sign of a good team. You won on the road,
Yeah.
and you didn't play well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the point, and that's what I was trying to tell you going into the game was that I think this isn't going to be a flashy game. It's going to be hard-nosed. It's going to be lots of grinding to win this game, and they did.
I got news for you. If they'd had one more quarter, they'd have covered the spread, or they would have covered the over/under easily.
Yeah.
Because things were starting to lighten up. There was a lot of nerves early, and you undervalued or you poo-pooed the offensive line.
I did.
How many centers in the NFL were higher graded than Kendrick Greene this week in pass protection?
1.
0.
Okay.
This kid from Illinois, I tried to tell you about the
Yeah.
draft process.
Yeah.
I like him. I like him a lot.
What about the rest of that offensive line?
Not great.
Yeah.
But guess what?
that's
You
got a
held up
point.
to one of the best defenses in the league on the road, and you still won. That's a sign of a good team. It's a sign of a well-coached team. That's the sign of a well-led team by Ben Roethlisberger and all the vets on that team. Pittsburgh 6, and you know what? I will ride that train until the wheels fall off.
Just like it did in Week 12 of last season.
You're not going to see that again. I'm just telling you, Matt Canada made it very clear. We're going to run the ball. I think Pittsburgh had 2 or 3 games last year where they rushed the ball 12 times or less.
Yep.
You're not going to see that all year. I promise you that.
At number 5, it's the San Francisco 49ers. They win against the Detroit Lions. They took their foot off the gas in the second half and let the Lions come back and make it look like a game. San Francisco 49ers, though, the problem I have with them is still the quarterback situation. Jimmy Garoppolo's, I don't know how much they're going to try to use this Trey Lance special package thing.
It will grow. It's going to grow as time goes on. It's a headache. It's a distraction. It's something else you have to game plan for, or it's going to score on you. It just makes them a little bit harder to game plan for.
Right.
The thing that I get a little nervous about is how many random running backs can you throw behind that offensive line in that scheme and it work?
All of them.
Elijah Mitchell was the number 3 running back in all of in terms of rushing yards in fantasy in all of football in Week 1. This was a 6th round guy.
Yeah. It's not about the running back in that Kyle Shanahan system. It's about the system.
Well, let me just explain to you. You know that Jets offense that we watched that they literally look like they're running into a brick wall?
Yeah.
It's the same system. It doesn't just invariably work. And that makes me nervous.
Well, no, but they have the ability to create the lanes. They have the talent on the offensive line to be able to
I
make
got
that work.
People just think this is a lather-up scheme thing. I'm just telling you, Raheem Mostert, you've got a lot of churn at running back.
Yep.
They seem to be headed down that injury path that they were on last year. And there are reasons for that, that's a topic for another day. That makes me a little nervous. I've still got them at 5, so I'm obviously not that nervous.
Okay.
But
at number 4 in the Week 2 power rankings, it's the Buffalo Bills.
I love how many people jumped off ship on the Bills because I am going to fucking butcher books that do that. If you undervalue Buffalo for the next month, I am going to pound it.
Yep. We expected a little bit more offensive output from them against the Pittsburgh Steelers in that 23-16 game, but the talent is still there. I've seen a lot of people trying to, backpedal on Josh Allen. And, oh, see, this is Josh Allen from 2 years ago. This isn't the Josh Allen from last year.
Nope.
It's been one damn game, and he played one of the best secondaries in the NFL. Yep. Let's stop with the backslide on the Buffalo Bills. At number 3, it's the Los Angeles Rams after their 34-14 beatdown of the Chicago Bears. It's not. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about that.
No, with Matthew Stafford having the big boy in the room, it's a little more of an improvement than I thought with Jared Goff.
Yep.
I also would like to see it against a team that looks like they've seen each other before.
Yep.
Because the Bears did not.
Number 2.
Running game's also going to be better than people think. Mm-hmm. Sony Michel didn't get but one touch in the first game.
Yep.
A lot of people have jumped overboard on Sony Michel. They still gave up a third-round pick for it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you don't do that for a running back. You don't plan on using. And Darrell Henderson was effective when used. He was actually pretty effective.
Yeah, it was a great opener for Matt Stafford for the LA Rams. They're going to be at the top of this list all season long. At number 2, you still got my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which, I mean, we can split hairs on 1 and 2. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady did Tom Brady things on the opening night against the Dallas Cowboys. He engineered the game-winning drive, 31-29. That defense there's a problem.
Yeah, here's the difference between the two teams that went to the Super Bowl last year. You beat the Cowboys, who were in the high end of my teens,
yep.
And the Browns are just a little bit higher.
Yep.
And the Kansas City Chiefs won a game that they should have lost. Mm-hmm. That's the only difference. It is the definition of splitting it. I'll be honest with you, my top 5 splitting hairs.
I would agree with that.
I look at the top 5 and go, all you need is a couple breaks, and you would be my Super Bowl favorite.
Wow.
That's how good the top half or the top 5 of this league is.
Yeah.
Once you get past Pittsburgh, they would need multiple things to happen. Mm-hmm. And there's a chunk of, 5 teams up there. I think I had 10 in the Super Bowl contender tier.
Yep. Kansas City wins 33-29 over the Cleveland Browns. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a test against the Dallas Cowboys, and they win 31-29.
Good teams win games they're not supposed to.
Yep.
Or games that look like they're out of reach. Mm-hmm. And that's what Kansas City did. And I'll be honest with you, the defense can't play much worse than it did in week 1. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to evolve. You have a lot of young guys on that defense. Tyrann Mathieu was gone for a lot of the week. Just, okay, that's a pretty good team. And over the course of 60 minutes, you figured it out and pulled out a victory.
Yep. Week 2 in the NFL is going to be a whole lot of fun. And, you're going to have this week you're going to have several blowout games, I believe, which is going to be fun. And we'll have all of your picks right here in the Sportsocracy. We will be live, of course, all week long right here in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Check you on the radio side this afternoon. The Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene. Heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Weekdays 3 to 5. Don't forget to get your picks in as well. Go to the sportsocracy.com, hit that betus.com link, betus.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy. They will match your deposit 125%.
If you give them 100 U.S. doll hairs, you will have 225 U.S. doll hairs to wager with.
That's right, and they will do that up to $2,500. So go to betus.com and start the winnings today. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene.
Yeah.
We'll see you this afternoon.